Welcome back.
It's just a chunk of stone. It's anchored deep into the earth and stands about 3 feet or so above the street level. For many, upon first seeing it, it's a mystery. What's that chunk of stone for? What was it for?
I actually asked that.
But most of us know some of its history. It was a slave auction block, a site in Fredericksburg where human beings, prodded to stand on the block of stone, were bought and sold. It's a part of our history that many people in Fredericksburg have found very difficult to sort out. Some have even expressed a desire to move the block to another location. So it will be out of the way. Others want it to be the focus of a continuing discussion about slavery and race. Most of all, many would simply like to find a way to incorporate it into our city's narrative. And Deirdre, you were telling me before the show, there's another city that has a slave block.
There is. Wall Street actually had a slave block before it became stocks and bonds.
That's rather revealing. But the question is how to incorporate the slave block into our city's history. These aren't easy questions, and to help find the answers, the city worked with the International Coalition of Sites of Conscience to facilitate the discussion. There were community meetings, small group discussions, some seminars, questionnaires, roundtables, and several exercises where they tried to probe people's real feeling about the slave block, our history, and their own feelings on race and slavery. All were designed to probe our understanding of the meaning of the slave block. They recently completed their report after nigh on a year. It's clear the slave block, where it stands in our history, and how we would like to discuss it is an evolving topic. We're not there yet in having a consistent narrative. But the city, after considering the community input, has made its position clear. The slave block will remain at its current site, and the discussion, at least for now, will continue about what it means and how we're going to consider it as a part of our history.
Now we go to George Kerns with the sports.
Thanks, guys. George Kerns here for CVTV Sports. High school basketball local Cortland boys is on a roll with a 61-50 win over Riverbend and a 61-47 win over Easternview. In local girls basketball, Riverbend beat Colonial Forge 57-52 and beat Cortland 52-33. They stunned Colonial Forge the other night. Takaya Caden scored 11 of 15 points in the fourth quarter as Riverbend won. Maddie Slunt put the Bears ahead with a late steal and a three-point play, and Jasmine Williams sealed it with the 2 free throws. Williams finished with 19 points, while Slunt had 7 points, 14 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 blocks, 4 steals. What a game from Maddie Slunt. In NFL news, the running back Frank Gore of the Miami Dolphins is out for the season because of a sprained foot in which he suffered in the Minnesota Viking loss 41-17. The Washington Redskins beat Jacksonville 16-13 and keep their playoff hopes alive at 7-7. Washington is at Tennessee Saturday evening, December 22nd at 4:30. The Baltimore Ravens beat Tampa Bay 20-12 and are still hanging at the 6th spot in the AFC wild card. They're half a game behind Pittsburgh in the AFC North division at 8-6. Baltimore is at the LA Chargers Saturday night, December 22nd at 8:20. Philadelphia came away with a win this past weekend over the LA Rams 30-23 with quarterback Nick Foles playing in place of injured quarterback Carson Wentz. Philly is still alive for the playoffs at 7-7. The NFL race, AFC number 1 Kansas City 11-3, number 2 Houston at 10-4, 3 New England 9-5, Pittsburgh 4 8-5-1, the LA Chargers 11-3, Baltimore 8-6, Indianapolis, Tennessee are 8-6, and Miami 7-7 as they are the 7, 8, and 9 teams hanging around. In the NFC, New Orleans number 1 at 12-2. The LA Rams, number 2, 11-3. Chicago, number 3, 10-4. Dallas and Seattle are the 4-5, 8-6, and Minnesota 7-6-1 and number 6. Philadelphia and Washington are 7-7 on the outside looking in. On Sunday at 1 o'clock, Houston is at Philly. On Sunday at 4:25, Pittsburgh is at New Orleans. Your stat leaders in rushing, Ezekiel Elliott of Dallas is your number 1 rusher with 286 attempts, 1,349 yards, and 6 touchdowns. And Todd Gurley is number 2. Saquon Barkley is number 3. In passing, number 1, Drew Brees of New Orleans has 3,666 yards, 31 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, a quarterback rating of 116.8. Number 2 is Patrick Mahomes of Kansas City, 4,543 yards, 45 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, a quarterback rating of 114.8. Phillip Rivers is number 3. And in receiving, Julio Jones is number 1, 100 receptions, 1,511 yards, 6 touchdowns. Mike Evans, number 2. DeAndre Hopkins is number 3. In college football, bowl season is underway. And this Saturday at noon, North Dakota State at 14-0 versus Eastern Washington at 12-2 for the FCS championship at Toyota Stadium in Frisco, Texas. Other games to note coming up: Boston College versus Boise State, Wednesday, December 26th at 1:30 in the ServPro First Responder Bowl from Dallas. Minnesota versus Georgia Tech at 5:15 that same day in the Quick Lane Bowl from Detroit. California versus TCU at 9 o'clock on Wednesday, December 26th in the Cheez-It Bowl from Phoenix. On Thursday, Miami versus Wisconsin, December 27th at 5:15 on ESPN at the Pinstripe Bowl from the Bronx in New York. In NHL news, the Washington Capitals are 20-10 with 44 points, first place in the Metro Division in men's college basketball. In men's college basketball, Virginia remains undefeated at 10-0 and the number 5 team in the nation. Kansas is number 1, and for women's college basketball, UConn remains number 1 with a record of 9-0. In NBA news, the Washington Wizards are now 12-20, 3 games behind Charlotte in the Southeast Division. Well, that's sports. I'm George Kerns for CVTV Sports. Back to you guys.
We'll be right back.